Okay, I wanted to kind of go over some of these chassis for the 1022. I've got quite a few in-house now, so it's a little confusing when you look at their website, all the different options and what you're getting for what. So I'll take a look at the ones that I own here and show you what you can build with yours. So this one, they're all the same brand. I call it PMACA. I don't know what they actually say, maybe PMACA. They might just go by the initials, but let's just call it PMACA for now. This is their lightweight chassis. Now, these are all made for 1022s or Chargers, you know, basically 1022 receiver. And this is their lightweight version. And this is supposedly about, I think it's 4 ounces lighter than the standard version. So here's the standard version. If you look at them, they're pretty similar, except for like right here, where this is more dished out than the simple rolled, you know, beaded in here. They took a little more meat out of the inside here. It looks a little different on the inside. Doesn't have all the thickness here. It's kind of cut. You can see the dished out section there versus this one. This chunk here is different too. So they use a different action screw. This one comes with a little shorter screw, where normally you have this, we're going through this whole thick body. This one's shorter. They use the same rails. That's pretty similar. The fronts are pretty similar. These have 2 different chassis, or 2 different pistol braces on them, but other than that, I think that's where they're mainly getting their weight out, is here, here, and inside here. So these are that's the standard and the lightweight. This one I believe is a titanium blue, I think they call it, Cerakote. I just put a M-lock hand stop in there, or finger stop, and just put a regular screw in there. This one will get a Magpul angled foregrip on it. These are both going to be built as pistols, so they'll get, this one gets a 4.5-inch barrel. This one will use the 10-inch factory Charger barrel. This one was ordered with what's called the suppressor cut. If you look here, it's got a little relief cut right here, because right now if you use a 4.5-inch barrel and then you try to thread a suppressor on it, if you don't have this relief cut, you will hit the chassis. So just put that in the order notes when you order it, and they will give you this version, and then you'll have all the clearance you need for a suppressor, because the suppressor will just fit right in there. Works really good, really small, compact package. Works awesome. So that's, again, the standard. Here's the lightweight. And then let's bring in, this one is becoming my favorite. This is what's called the long nose. As you can see, I'll put it up against the standard. If we line them up by the stock tubes back here, you know, they're pretty much the same here, except for this. It gives you a much nicer, longer chassis system. I think when you're using a longer barrel, this requires roughly a 8-inch or longer barrel to clear the handguard here. But when you do use a longer barrel, it gives it a more balanced look. Now, the real secret to this one is it includes this rear tang area that's cut out for when you use a kid aftermarket receiver tang, or a kid receiver, I guess. And that is a special little tab that basically your back of your receiver needs to be machined for it. And it adds this, then you bolt from the inside out into this tab, and then the tab has a vertical screw that locks down in here. So normally a 1022 has this little shelf back here for between your trigger guard and your receiver, kind of locks in there, and then you have the action screw right there. But it can kind of teeter-totter a little bit, you know, it's not rock solid. So when you have a heavier barrel hanging off of the front end of that, you do want some more support. This is the way to get it. They don't have the same locking rear here, so you kind of have to run the tab, the kid rear tang, if you're going to do this. I have shot this with a regular 10-inch barrel without the tab on the back, and it was fine. But if you pushed on the front or the back, you could get the action to kind of seesaw in there. But This one now then uses the action screw and a rear screw to really lock that receiver in the chassis, fully floating the barrel. It's just a great setup. I don't know how else to say it. It's awesome. Full-length Picatinny Rail, so you can run a foregrip, you can run a bipod, you could do a lot of different things with this one. I think it looks the best. I think it's the most proportionate when you're using anything longer than a 4 or 6 inch barrel, something like that. This one will be set up as a rifle. That's why it's got an actual rifle stock on it. And then they all come with these little tabs here that mounts one bolt down into the chassis, gives you a rear tang for a pistol grip. Now, you have to use a grip that does not have a beaver tail on it. They typically will not line up with this curvature. So I like these Bcm grips a lot. You can get them without the rear tang on them. I also, like on this standard chassis, this one's got a MOE K Magpul Grip on it. That works fine as well. This one's a little more low profile, kind of a smaller grip. Depends on what you're going after. The Bcm grip in comparison is a little bit longer. You can see it's a bit longer. I think it's more comfortable, but it's kind of up to you what you're looking for. So the long nose, I like a lot. I think this, I got this one here. This is in the tungsten Cerakote, and I have another one coming in black. It should actually be here tomorrow. And I have 2 receivers that are out getting cut for the tang as we speak. Those should be back this week as well. So that's why those aren't built yet. And then the other one, this is their multi-chassis. So the multi-chassis is similar to the standard, except for it's got a little bit more length here, and then the curvature of this is much larger, and it accommodates these tubes. So you basically, underneath this foregrip or angled grip, there's 2 screws going up into this carbon tube. It's got aluminum front and rear, and then a carbon sleeve. They basically, I had them cut this one down exactly to what I wanted. So this is set up for when I run it, I can just run my fingers here and then I don't go over. So this is actually set up for a 4.5 inch barrel with a suppressor on it, and then the barrel comes out about here. Or you can run a 6 inch barrel and it'll basically be flush. And then I'm also using it right now with a Volquartsen 12 inch carbon tension barrel. I think that looks really nice. I had originally bought this one in a OD green Cerakote, but I'm going to refinish this, so I stripped it all off with a bead blaster. This is just raw aluminum right now. I haven't decided what color I'm going to do this one yet, but I'll probably get this and this aluminum color matched, so it all matches. But this one is also set up as a pistol, as you can see. It's a Sba Three Brace. This is a Brownells receiver, so like I said, it fits multiple different brands of receivers. Only thing goofy, I would say, it's not a problem, it just looks a little odd, is Brownells gives you these cleaning holes in the back, which is actually great to clean from the breech out, but the chassis does not cover it at all, so you got 3/4 of the hole kind of exposed. I thought I was going to have gas blowback, especially with the suppressor mounted on it, but it doesn't actually create any issues as of yet, so I'm not too worried about it. The Brownells railed receiver works pretty good. I have no issues so far. This is the first one you're seeing with a trigger group in it. So as you can see, there's a little bit of gap right there. So I also like these grips that have the little tang right here, and that gives your hand a comfortable spot to clear on. I think it's the most comfortable way to do it. This one has the Picatinny Rail as well. So these, the standard and the lightweight, have 3 holes here where you can bolt in this little chassis Picatinny Rail that they give you, or you can order a long one, which I've also done, and it replaces this one and just gives you another much longer piece. That's fine, it works, but the multi-chassis is built right into the chassis, which is very similar to how the long nose is. Long nose is obviously much, much longer. So if you line these up here, you can see they're basically lined up. It's a lot longer. You can put a bipod or a full-length grip. This Magpul AFG right here, I literally had to put on, mark, and then I cut it down and then just sanded it down a little bit just to create a nice smooth transition for my hand to kind of curl over and pull it in. So this is cool. I think that looks nice with the chassis and the carbon and carbon fiber. It looks great. It handles awesome. This gun is fantastic. All the chassis guns have been fantastic so far. And then here is the last one that I've got. This one's a little bit harder to show because it's a 16-inch gun, but this is the takedown version. So basically, this is also a Brownells receiver. Same deal with the hole in the back. But this is a takedown chassis, and a takedown receiver. So lock the bolt back, pull the locking mechanism forward, rotate the barrel out. So two-piece system, one bolt here locks the handguard onto the barrel. This is an OEM Ruger 16-inch barrel that I got from Brownells. I'll put a link in this video to if you want to build one just like it. It's got a threaded muzzle for my suppressor. Do not make the same mistake I did though, because I bought a railed receiver, which is normally the way to go because that way it's just really eliminates one more mount. Unfortunately, with the takedown specifically, when you have this in here, these flip up irons do not clear the receiver. So kind of a biffed move on my end. I should have bought the smooth top and then just use the iron sights and then a little rail if I wanted to. But it is what it is. I've already got it. It works. I have a little optic on here anyway, so I don't really worry about it too much. But the rear chassis system, pretty similar to the other ones. One action screw, has a little bit of a different nose here for this locking mechanism to pass through, but pretty simple. This one's a full-on carbine, so it's got a regular stock on it. Other than that, pretty simple. So ranking, it really depends on what you want to use these for. I love the long chassis if you're willing to cut for the kid tang. And I'm actually told by the guys over at PMACA that if you want this tang cut out on any of these other chassis, they'll do it. They just don't stock it. So you got to put it in the notes that you want that cut, and they'll add that to it. It takes a little bit longer because they don't stock them that way, but this is the only one that comes pre-done that way. And I like it a lot. I think it balances the best. I think it sits the best with any length of barrel over 4.5. If you're doing a 4.5-inch barrel, which I do have, this is the way to go. The standard chassis with the suppressor cut out right here in the forearm. This gun is so short. I mean, your barrel ends right there. You got the suppressor sticks out a little bit. Super, super, super maneuverable. Put a red dot on here and you are good to go. Very lightweight. It's very hard to beat that one. You could also do the same thing for the lightweight chassis. If weight is your ultimate concern, I guess you would just order this one with the suppressor cut out on it too. But that's for the short barrels. If you want something a little bit longer, if you're willing to go over 8 inches, so 8 to 10 inches, I mean, a standard Charger barrel is 10 inches. I like the long nose. The long nose is kind of my favorite for that, but you do need to have the tang in there. So it's kind of a niche thing. And then for shorter barrels, I think the multi-chassis is really hard to beat. You can get this tube in different lengths. I had them cut this one down to this length specifically, but they make them out to cover 16-inch barrels and all that. So just check out their website. There'll be a link in the show notes there, or not the show notes, but the video notes. But yeah, a lot of options. PMACA has a ton of different variations, and you can kind of build a chassis gun of your dreams.